Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for Vanguard. This is the 4th leveling dungeon made available by patch 7.0 in Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail. You might experience a surge in excitement the first time you rush through this area, but be careful not to run your batteries dry. Here to help you dispatch these bosses, my name is Miztech and I'll be your dungeon guide. This first section of trash has some cool and relatively different AoE attacks to watch out for as you mindlessly burn everything down. The first boss is Vanguard Commander R8. Electro Wave will deal high group-wide damage and form a ring of bad around the outer edge of the platform. When the boss casts Enhanced Mobility, this red marker indicating the boss's path of attack will appear over the platform. Players will also be directed to pay attention to the Wing Blade, this large purple laser sword sticking out of one of the sides of the boss. This boss will follow the red path indicated by the ground marker, cutting down anyone in its path on the side of the Wing Blade. This can be pretty confusing at first, but with practice it'll become easier to dodge. Dispatch will have a number of ads appear on the edge of the platform. If these ads cast Rush, move out of their way to avoid getting run over. If you see them flying up into the air and casting Aerial Offensive, large circle attacks will form over the platform that will grow over time. Move away to avoid getting hit. During the next Dispatch cast, more ads will appear and players will be targeted by these large Electro Surge circle markers. Find a safe spot in between the rush attacks while also spreading to avoid overlapping any of the circle attacks. During the next Aerial Dispatch cast, 2 sets of ads will appear that will cast their growing circle AoEs in succession. Dodge the first set of circles until they explode before moving into the final safe area to dodge the second set of circle explosions. All of these mechanics will repeat until the boss is down. The second section of trash has a bunch of mobs, so tanks make sure to pick everything up. Watch out for these big guys and their donut attacks. The second boss is Protector. Electro Wave will again deal group-wide damage. Healers be ready. Search and Destroy will have a multitude of laser and explosive turrets spawn around the outer edges of the platform. Many AoE attacks will target all players for multiple rounds of attacks, and players will have to continuously dodge as necessary to avoid getting hit until the barrage stops. Fulminous Fence will cause a number of red barriers to appear around the platform. Moving through these will deal damage and debuff players. These will persist for some time, and players will need to dodge them during the next round of mechanics. Battery Circuit will form a massive rotating AoE attack that will turn a full 360 degrees before it disappears. While this is happening, players will have to also dodge the circle attacks and the red barriers as they rotate with the boss. Rapid Thunder will target the primary target with a heavy-hitting tank buster. Use cooldowns and heal through the damage as necessary. Motion Sensor will place an acceleration bomb debuff on all players. At the end of its duration, players will have to stop moving to avoid exploding. While this debuff is counting down, the boss is also throwing up more line AoE attacks to dodge. Once that debuff timer appears over your head to count down the last few seconds, position yourself in a safe spot and stop moving until that debuff disappears. During the next Search and Destroy AoE Bullet Hell, players will also need to avoid the extra red barriers formed over the platform. Heavy Blast Cannon will target the healer with this lineup marker, and all players should stand together to share the incoming damage. All of these mechanics will repeat until the boss is down. The last section of trash is very similar to the previous section, and at this point I'm sure you know what to do. The final boss is Xander the Snake Skinner. Electrothermia will deal group-wide damage. Healers be ready. Soulbane Saber is a line attack that will cleave the room. Players will need to move away from the area of this initial attack as it will soon explode outwards from each side of that initial cleave. Saber Rush will target the primary target with a tank buster. Cooldown and heal as necessary. The next time the boss casts Soulbane Saber, he'll cast 4 cleaves towards each cardinal point that will explode in the order that they were cast. At the same time, players will be targeted with these circle attack markers, and they'll need to spread into the available safe areas to avoid overlapping the attacks. By this point, you may notice that the boss has very little HP and is dying quite quickly. Once pushed into his special form, the true boss fight begins. Synthesis Lean is a wide frontal cone towards a random player. Move away to avoid getting hit. Periodically, the boss will move to the edge of the platform and cast Thinnest Slither, his eventual path highlighted over the platform. Every point on the line with a sword over it will indicate an attack. Players can move behind the boss as he slithers over the line to easily dodge each point of attack. Shade Shot will target the primary target for another tank buster. Throughout the encounter, the boss will move to the center and cast either Slitherbane foreguard or rearguard. The Slitherbane part of the attack is the same line cleave attack and eventual explosion that you dealt with in the first phase of the fight. The fore or rearguard part of the attack will add an extra half-room cleave either from the front of the boss or the back. Players will need to identify which extra attack is happening and dodge to the opposite side of the boss accordingly. Be sure to avoid the side explosions of each previous cleave attack at the same time. Screech will deal group-wide damage. Healers be ready. All of these mechanics will repeat until the boss is down. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Up next, we'll head into Orogenics. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.